Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I am Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok. And today we're talking about my spring knitting plans. Today is Friday, March 24th, so we are officially into the spring season here in the Northern Hemisphere. I know the weather is a little bit weird in many parts of the United States. It's still snowing in some places. Here in Southern California, we have been having a ton of rain and we're supposed to get more next week, but it really is time to sit down and start thinking about spring knitting plans. So, today I'm going to talk you through the thought process that I had from starting out with like my New Year's goals and what I had like originally planned back in January for my spring knits, through some mood board planning, through translating this into patterns and yarn and ideas, and eventually to where I am now with my list of makes that I'm currently considering for my spring knitting plans. So let's dive right in. I'm very excited to be here today and to be talking about this with you. So, looking back at my New Year's goals 2023 knitting plans video, I had broken out the year into quarters, basically by seasons, and I broke down and like wrote out what I thought my goals would be for each of these quarters. So when I look back at my spring knitting thoughts, the main points there really were some like knit t-shirts, maybe some tank tops, and tops that could really be work appropriate. I have some short sleeve tops, knit tops, already in my wardrobe, and this tank top actually that I'm wearing today, this is the Thea top by Suzanne Muller. But the tops that I already have in my wardrobe, I'm not like 100% sold on them anymore. I knit most of these last year and one of them the year before that, so I don't want to say they're getting to like the end of their life expectancy because like that's not true, but the fabric, the yarn color, the yarn choice for some of them, I'm just still maybe not into. So my overarching thought for what I decide to make this year, I want it to last longer in my wardrobe. I want to be happy with making it this year and wearing it this year, and then I want to come back next spring and say like, yeah, I'm still like excited to wear this next year as well. So that's kind of like one overarching thought that I want to make sure I'm keeping in mind with all of these spring knits. Now, I am still very, very interested in knitting short sleeve tops, knitting tank tops, and knitting things that are work appropriate. So we are still following in that thought from my New Year's knitting plans, with a little bit of extra stuff going on in here too. So let's kind of talk through all of that. Earlier this month, Emily from High Fiber Knits put out her spring knitting plans video, and in it she created a whole spring mood board. This was very inspiring, I think, to a lot of makers. I have seen a lot of people on Instagram sharing their spring mood boards, and of course I needed to create one myself. So I went to Pinterest, the place you go to when you're gonna create a mood board, right? I went to Pinterest and I really started high level here. I wanted to create like a spring mood board for myself that was just like, what is the general vibe that I want to go for this spring, both in like places that I want to visit, places that I see myself going to, and outfits that I see myself wearing. I did not focus exclusively on like knit items going through this exercise. It was really just like the general like Pinteresty outfits. So let me walk you through kind of what this board looks like now and what some of these like overarching themes are. So this is my spring mood Pinterest board, and what we'll see kind of here at the top is like a lot of the outfits that I was really interested in, and then we'll get into some of the like places that I see myself visiting. So in terms of all of these outfits, you can see it's a lot of like jeans with like white or light colored t-shirts. There's a lot of cardigans on here. There's some cute dresses. I was really into these photos of people wearing like different colored pants. There's like green pants, like reddish orange pants, yellow pants. Look, the only pants that I ever wear, like ever, are like my black jeans, my blue jeans, and leggings. So I don't know where I'm getting all of these different colored pants from, but I'm really into this vibe. So we'll have to see if I can find any of these and bring these into my wardrobe. I'm also really interested in striped t-shirts. I think stripes are super big right now, just like in general, and also in the knitting community. So like that's really exciting. Let's see what else we have here. Again, it's a lot of jeans, a lot of shorts, some really cute shoes, a lot of white tops, and some of the places that I really see myself visiting, the wineries. If you don't know, I live very, very close to the Temecula Valley wineries. We visit the wineries a lot. I also see myself wearing all of these cute outfits going out to brunch or to dinner with the family. And lastly, I really want to visit the Carlsbad flower fields this year. So that's something that I'm also thinking about. Okay, so after I created this really fun mood board, I started to think, okay, how do I translate this vibe and these outfit ideas into potential items to knit? And what I think it really comes down to is I think I can knit a couple short sleeve or tank tops in like lighter neutral colors and some cardigans. And so that's kind of like part of it. The second part of it again is the work appropriate tops, which I think my mood board really focuses more on like casual, like outside of the office outfits. The inside, like work appropriate outfits, I do think are a little bit different, and so I'm thinking of knits for that to be kind of separate. But that's kind of like the 2/3 things that I have been thinking about. Again, simple, like basic, classic, light colored tops, cardigans, and work appropriate short sleeve tops. So now that I have those ideas in my head, I actually came to my yarn stash and I pulled out some of the yarns that I'm interested in working with. Now, spring here in Southern California means the temperatures are rising, and the temperatures are rising pretty quickly. So while I have all of this amazing merino wool behind me, I really want to start using some more plant-based fibers, some linen, some cotton, and some blends that I think will make more, first of all, more interesting fabrics, something that I don't normally knit with. And so I really want to get some of that on the needles, and also just make some more like lighter weight fabric that I won't get as like hot and sweaty in as the temperatures start to rise. So I pulled out a bunch of yarns that I want to show you because I think I will be using some of these in my spring knits. So first of all, I want to pull these out. This is, let's see, this is Sorella Yarns Silk DK Base. So it's a 50% silk and 50% superwash merino wool. This is her DK base, so it's 100 grams, 231 yards. I have 3 skeins of each of both of these colors. This color is Pampas from her Summer Tonal collection, and this color is called You Are Good for the Soul, and it was from her Mayflower collection. So I'm really interested in getting at least one of these colors onto my needles this spring. I think this silk merino blend, first of all, it's incredibly soft. You can probably already tell that it doesn't like stand up straight in the skein form. Let me show you, just like for an example, this is a merino nylon base. See how it, like, okay, this one maybe is not the best example. It's a little floppy, but like compared to this, extremely floppy. So if you've ever used like the merino nylon bases, you know how like drapey they get after you knit them and block them. Just imagine this. Like, this is gonna be incredibly drapey. So I'm pretty excited about this. It'll also just be like really soft and really smooth, and I'm hoping it'll be a nice fabric to wear when the temperatures start to rise. The next yarn is this. You probably recognize this. This is Knitting for Olives Pure Silk. This specific ball is the colorway Putty. And I have about 6 balls of this, and I just think this would be really nice in like a white, simple, classic tank top. I think this fits really well into like my mood board that I shared with you. I had a lot of, you know, white t-shirts, white tank tops with those fun colored pants. So this is definitely on my mind to be turned into a classic, I want to say basic, but I'm going to try and stay away from the word basic, a classic t-shirt or tank top. Next up is this yarn. This is from Miss Babs. It's her damask fingering base. It's a 65% silk, 35% linen base. So again, a silk linen blend, something that I'm really interested in knitting up. I'm not sure if I will get to this. I do actually have plans for this yarn. I think this is going to be an outline raglan. So that is more like long sleeve. I am considering the long sleeve version. So I might hold on to this until fall. But I am really excited to eventually get this yarn on my needles. This is a cotton yarn. So this is Sammy by Amano, and it's a 100% Peruvian Pima organic cotton. I've had this in my stash for a little while, and every time I like look at it, I'm like, this is such a gorgeous like lavender purple color. When I like think about it, I always think it's thicker than it is. I do think this is a DK weight. Yeah, this is a oh, is it? 50 grams, 164 yards. Maybe this is more of like a sport weight. But again, this is 100% cotton, so I don't have any plans for this yarn yet. Maybe this is something that will get used this spring, maybe not, I'm not sure. But again, it's one of those like natural fibers that I'm interested in using. And lastly, I have these skeins of Quince & Co. Sparrow, which is 100% organic linen. These are 50, if you can believe it, these are 50 gram little skeins. They look like mini skeins. They're so small. But it is a fingering weight linen, so it is pretty thin. These I'm considering making like a striped tank top with. Originally my plan for these was the Moon Crush tank, but I'm kind of just second guessing that pattern in general. I think these would be really cute just in a striped tank top. So those are all of the yarns that are already in my stash that I'm considering using, really thinking about, really want to get like all of these on my needles, but do have to be realistic in the amount of projects that I can knit. And there are some other factors and other things going on that are going to take up some of my time this spring. So the first, I had mentioned in looking at my mood board that I want to visit the Carlsbad flower fields. I did talk about this in my last knitting podcast, but my friend Christine and I have made very loose plans to go visit the Carlsbad flower fields. And when we first started talking through this, I was Googling it just to like, see when it's open, what the hours are, ticket situation, all of that stuff. And I realized that the type of flower that they grow at the Carlsbad flower fields is the ranunculus flower. And I was like, okay, this is just too perfect. We need to make ranunculus tops to wear to go see the ranunculus flowers at the Carlsbad flower fields. So this is actually the first spring top that I'm going to cast on, and I'm pretty sure this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. So again, this is the Sorella DK in her silk DK base, so 50% silk, 50% merino, and I just think this will look really, really good in that ranunculus pattern. So that's the first thing that I have like officially decided on knitting this spring, and I do think this covers like the work appropriate tops as well. As long as I can make sure the gauge is good so that it's not like super gapey and holey and wouldn't be work appropriate, then I think this covers both topics, both the flower fields and work appropriateness. So check, check. Cool. The second thing that's coming up is Sorella Yarn is hosting a make-along. There is one knit pattern and one crochet pattern that you can choose from to make during this make-along, and I am going to be making the Provence sweater, which is the knit sweater, as part of this make-along, which I'm very, very excited about. So the yarn that I'm going to be using, now this isn't any of the yarns that we just talked about. This sweater is knit up in her Surrey base, which is a little bit warmer, not necessarily a spring fabric, but I already had the yarn in my stash. The prizes for this make-along are like really cool, and I do really like the sweater. I think this will be another like classic Surrey sweater that will fit into my wardrobe come fall and winter again later in the year. So I am okay with bringing this into my spring knitting plans. But this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. This is Sorella yarn in her Surrey sock base. So it's 100 grams, 437 yards, 100% Surrey alpaca. And this colorway is called Chateau. This was actually from her fall tonals collection. The next thing that I really want to focus on is the cardigan piece of this. So I've got two things kind of going on, like warring in my brain. The first is I really want to cast on the Seasons cardigan by Ozetta. This is a very, very cute textured cardigan that I think just is going to be a wardrobe staple. Now, I did buy yarn for this, so let me show you. This is also Knitting for Olive. This is their heavy merino base, and the colorway that I purchased is called Mushroom Rose. Now, this color is actually not really what I was going for. On the website, this does not look as beige and tan as it looks in real life. And I was going more towards like an oatmeal color, like definitely something with like white and cream undertones or like a base of that instead of beige. So I actually bought more. 12 balls of this Mushroom Rose color arrived earlier this week, and then I was like, this is not what I was looking for, so I purchased more in the colorway Oatmeal. And I'm hoping that that is more the color that I'm interested in. Now, I'm not going to get rid of this mushroom rose color because I think come fall and winter, this will make a really great pullover color, or pullover sweater. I don't know. It's like not 100% my color, but I do think like a neutral sweater of this color is maybe something that I'm interested in. Anyways, I'm not going to get rid of it yet. I do think I will make something with this later on. But the oatmeal color that is arriving hopefully is what I want and will be a season's cardigan. So I'm very interested in casting that on this spring to get that going so that I have a knit cardigan. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I already have a knit cardigan on the needles. So this is something else that I really want to think about this spring because I would really like to finish this. This is the spot where it's at now, so I'm not even to sleeve separation yet. But I started this back in the fall, and just all of my other like fall and winter knitting projects took priority over this. But I really want to get this done. As you know, I'm wearing this black cardigan, and I would really like a hand knit one to replace this one in my wardrobe. So, thinking about all of that now, that's already 4 projects. That's a lot. I do think the first 2, the ranunculus and the Provence sweater, I can finish relatively quickly, especially the ranunculus. Like, honestly, I think I can get that done in like 2 or 3 weeks. The Provence will probably take also about 3 weeks. And then the cardigans from there. I think at that point we'll probably be ready to start thinking about summer knits. But if there is more time left in the spring season, I would like to cast on at least 1 more, if not 2 more, short sleeve tops. And so for these, I don't have a pattern truly picked out yet. I've been going back and forth to my Ravelry favorites. I've got 2 bundles that I've really been looking at. One is called Spring Tees, the other is called Summer Tanks, and there are a lot of patterns in here that I'm really interested in making. So when it comes down to it, and if there's time, I'll probably be choosing a pattern from my Spring Tees bundle and making that in one of the yarns that I showed you earlier from my stash. A couple of the tees that I'm interested in from this bundle specifically are the Brookline blouse, the Selvage tee, the Salty Air tee, the Celeste tee, the Miserina. I'm interested in the Soho top, that's a tank top. And a couple of just these like simple classic camisoles in my Summer Tanks bundle. So I will be sharing, as always, all of my progress on these projects on my regular podcast episodes here on the Knit California YouTube channel. I also share all of my progress and behind the scenes stuff over on Instagram, both in posts, reels, and in my stories. So if you're not following me over there, definitely want to go check that out. If you've made it all the way through this video, thank you so much for taking the time to watch and hang out with me today. Click the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below telling me what your spring knitting plans are. Maybe something you're making will inspire me in my knit tops later this season. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye!